English Made Easy podcast.
From Easy English with Class.
Okay, so let's just dive right in. Have you ever been asked, "How are you?" And instantly, like without even thinking, you just say, "I'm fine."
Oh, every single day.
Right. But inside, internally, that's not just a white lie. It's a total lie. You're stressed, or maybe it's something more complex, or you're just wiped out, completely tired.
Absolutely. That "I'm fine" is, it's the universal reflex, isn't it? It's like it's programmed into us.
It is.
It's automatic, it's polite, and, it's fast. It just solves that little social moment immediately.
It's the grease that keeps the wheels turning in the hallway conversation. But the second you stop and think about it, you realize it almost never actually reflects what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Inside, you might be thinking, "I'm so tired, I'm worried about that big review meeting, and I'm probably on my third coffee." Or something more complicated like, "I'm so happy about this new job, but I am terrified about having to move."
And that second one you mentioned, the mixed feeling, that's where fine just completely falls apart. Life is hardly ever just one single thing. It's usually joy with a little bit of fear, or, relief mixed with some leftover sadness.
And that is the conflict we really want to get into for you today, because fine feels safe, but it can make you sound a bit cold, or like you're just dismissing your own feelings.
Right.
You want to sound natural, you want to be honest, but you absolutely do not want to launch into a full therapy session.
No.
Or sound overly dramatic. Finding that balance it's incredibly hard, especially when you feel like you only have 3 or 4 words to work with.
And that's the trap. When you feel that limit on your vocabulary, you tend to fall into one of two holes.
Right.
Either you just shut the whole thing down with fine.
Right, the end.
Or you overshare with a word that's way too strong, and suddenly the whole conversation gets awkward.
Mm-hmm.
So your goal to learn and communicate better gets blocked because you're scared of being either too cold or, too much.
I have this perfect little story for this. This morning, I was meeting a colleague, someone I really look up to, and I didn't wait since 4 in.the morning just dealing with a problem.
Oh, wow.
So he smiles, totally genuine, and asks, "How's your day going?" And my reflex, it was instant. "I'm great, thanks." I said it with this huge smile that probably looked completely fake.
And your body language, what do you think that was saying?
Oh, my body language was probably screaming for help. I was carrying 2 bags, walking way too fast. All my attention was, right here in my shoulders. My body was basically saying, "I am a high-functioning ball of stress. Please do not ask any more questions." The truth was, I wasn't great. I was exhausted and a little bit stressed.
Right.
But in that moment, that professional setting, I didn't have a simple, natural phrase ready to go that could acknowledge the stress without, inviting a 30-minute conversation about it.
That is the core difficulty, isn't it? We often use words that are either too small for the job or way too big for the complex reality we're actually in.
Exactly. Because real life has levels. You're not always sad, but maybe you're just, not in a good mood. You're not angry, but you might be a little frustrated with a tech issue.
Getting that nuance, that level,
Yeah.
that's where confidence comes from.
Yes.
And you build that confidence when you realize you can be accurate about your state without having to offer up your whole life story. You actually get more control over the conversation.
So that is our mission for this deep dive. We are officially moving beyond "I'm fine." We're going to give you a framework, a structure, and a whole new set of words. A communication system, really.
A shortcut.
A shortcut to more natural, nuanced speech. We're going to give you more than 25 actually natural ways to answer "How are you?" using simple, real-life words. And it's all organized in a system that's really easy to remember.
And we have to start with that system. To structure the complexity first. If we can put all these feelings into, let's say, mental buckets,
Right.
then choosing the right word becomes less about, translating in your head, more about just picking the right tool for the job.
Okay, let's get into those buckets.
So to handle all this new vocabulary, we're going to lean on a psychological principle. It's called chunking.
Chunking. Okay.
Your brain just remembers things faster and can find them more easily when they're organized into these small logical groups. So we're organizing your emotional vocabulary into 4 simple zones.
I like the scientific approach, but let me push back just a little. Why 4? If we're going for simple, why not just good and bad?
That's a great question, and it gets right to the heart of why good and bad don't really work.
Okay.
If we only have 2 categories, we miss out on the most common experiences people actually have. So we break it down. We need one zone for positive feelings and one for negative, of course.
The two poles.
The two poles, exactly. But then we need a separate zone for that really common state of, modern life, being tired or stressed. And finally, a zone for realistic complexity, for mixed feelings.
So it's about frequency and realism. That makes a lot of sense. All right, let's break down what goes in each zone.
Okay, zone 1, positive feelings. This is your spectrum of pleasant states. Think happy, excited, proud, relaxed, thankful, calm, even content. And the key benefit here is just getting over that reflex to say the generic, I'm good.
Because it doesn't really mean anything.
Exactly. The key takeaway is specificity. So instead of just stopping at, I'm good, you can tell the other person how you're good. Saying something like, I'm excited about the long weekend, or, I feel calm today because I finally finished that big presentation. It's just so much more engaging.
And it serves a social purpose, right? If I say I'm good, the conversation just stops. But if I say I'm excited, the other person knows exactly what to ask next. Oh, what are you excited about? You've given them something to work with.
Precisely. You've handed them a conversational thread to pull on.
Okay.
Okay, so that brings us to zone 2. Negative feelings.
The tricky one.
The tricky one, yeah. This covers the harder emotions. Sad, upset, angry, worried, nervous. And this is the area where people often grab a word that's way too strong because they don't have the words for the milder feelings. So the key takeaway here is, negative doesn't have to mean big drama. This is where we introduce what we call the level word. It's like a volume control.
Ah, I like that. A volume control.
You control how serious it sounds by adding a bit, or kind of, or a little. For instance, saying, I'm kind of upset about the news, is very measured. It's controlled. It's not like just blurting out, I'm angry.
Right.
It manages the listener's expectations, and it makes sure you don't sound, over the top.
That volume control is so important, especially at work, where you might need to acknowledge something's wrong without making the whole room feel unstable.
Absolutely. And that leads us to the zone that, honestly, most of us are probably living in most of the time.
I think I know which one this is.
Zone 3, tired and stressed. This is the everyday zone for students, for professionals, anyone juggling a lot of things. It includes words like tired, stressed, busy, exhausted, overwhelmed, drained.
All the hits.
All the hits, yeah. And we separate the zone because the problem isn't always, an internal sadness or anger. It's usually an external pressure or just a lack of energy.
That separation is brilliant. It makes that feeling of just functioning on a low battery, it makes it feel valid. It's a real state.
It is.
Yeah.
And within this zone, there's one word we absolutely have to spend more time on, and that's overwhelmed.
Okay, let's get a really clear definition here. If you're learning English, how should you think about overwhelmed versus just stressed?
Okay, so stressed is mostly about pressure from a heavy workload. Overwhelmed is more specific. It's a feeling of saturation. It means you have too many things happening at the same time.
Okay.
The list is too long. The demands are coming from all directions. And crucially, feeling overwhelmed often leads to a kind of paralysis.
Yeah.
You're so full up that you don't know what single thing you should even do first.
It's a mental traffic jam. Your brain is just frozen because there's too much coming in at once.
Exactly. Using the word overwhelmed instantly communicates that feeling of being gridlocked. And it does it so much better than just saying, I am very busy. It's a really specific and very modern feeling.
It really is.
And finally, zone 4, mixed feelings. This last zone is, you could argue, the most natural and fluent way to communicate because it admits that reality is messy.
Right. You're rarely just one thing.
Almost never. So here we use words like but or and to connect feelings from different zones. For example, I'm happy about the promotion, but I'm nervous about all the new responsibility. Or you could combine the physical with the emotional. I'm feeling better today, but I'm still a little tired from being sick.
If you can master combining two feelings like that, your communication is going to sound fluent almost instantly. It just shows a really sophisticated level of self-awareness.
It moves you past just basic description and into, a real expression of what it's like to be human. So this 4-zone system, it just gives your brain a quick way to find the right word when you're under the pressure of a real conversation.
So we have the structure, we have the zones. Now let's talk about the traps. That empty brain feeling I mentioned earlier. The moment someone asks, how are you? And your mind just goes totally blank. It's usually because we've hit one of these 3 communication problems.
And if we can identify these traps, then the need for the solution, the formula we're going to talk about, becomes really, really clear.
Okay, problem A.
Problem A is simply that your vocabulary is too short. This is when you're relying on just those core three. Good, bad, fine. And while they're, grammatically fine.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. They're just functionally too small to navigate your real life.
Okay, so what are the actual social consequences of only using those three words? What happens?
Well, first, it creates social distance. If you always say good, people might think you're either, being simplistic or you're just politely trying to avoid them.
Right. Don't talk to me.
Exactly. And on the flip side, if you lean too heavily on bad, people might start to avoid you because they assume you're always negative or looking for a deep conversation.
It just blocks any real connection.
It does, because it has no nuance. And second, it really limits your ability to add conditions or context. Real life demands complexity. Like, I'm fine in general, but I'm also kind of stressed about this one specific thing.
So a short vocabulary doesn't just block the conversation, it blocks the chance for any kind of, measured conditional sharing. You need to be able to tag a feeling with a little extra information.
Exactly. If you don't have the words, you just can't make those crucial little adjustments.
Okay, so that leads to problem B, choosing words that are way too strong. This is where you can accidentally create a lot of drama. Let's talk about the social impact here, especially with something like the depressed example.
Right. The clinical weight of certain words in English is enormous. When you use a word like depressed or heartbroken or furious for what is really just a temporary minor setback, you're using let's say, a 10 out of 10 word for a 2 out of 10 situation.
And what happens when you do that in a casual conversation?
You risk a few things. First, you might just alarm the other person. They might think you're in a real crisis and you need immediate help.
Yeah.
Second, it kind of devalues the word for times when it's really needed. And third, and this is the important one long term, you can start to be seen as someone who's always seeking attention or just being, histrionic, overly dramatic. And that's the last thing learners want.
That makes so much sense. Nobody wants to be seen as melodramatic. So for that feeling of just, a little bit of sadness or a low mood that lasts for an hour, what are the safest, most natural words to use?
We need softer words that manage the other person's expectations. So you want to stick to things like, I'm sad, which everyone understands, or I feel a bit down, which is super natural and common, or even just, I'm not in a great mood today.
Okay.
These words are honest, but they send a signal. They'd say, I'm acknowledging this feeling, but I'm still functioning, and I don't need a crisis response team.
It's about accurately mapping your emotion without setting off any social alarms.
Precisely. Which leads us right into the next challenge, the structural one.
Right. Problem C. Stating the feeling, but then freezing on the reason.
Yes.
This is my personal trap. I can get the courage to say I'm stressed, but then my brain starts trying to write a perfect long essay explaining why, and I freeze. I say the first part, and then silence.
That freeze happens because your brain is trying to compose this perfect complex sentence about client demands and late meetings and traffic.
All of it.
But native speakers don't do that. They just use a simple connector.
And what's the result of that freeze?
The conversation just dies. The other person feels awkward because they don't know if they should ask for more information or just back away slowly.
Right.
And then you, the learner, you sense that awkwardness and you get even more nervous for the next time. It's a cycle. This repeated freezing reinforces the idea that being honest is too complicated, and it just pushes you right back to saying, I'm fine.
So the fix isn't about learning more words, it's about having a map to follow.
It's the structure. We need to give you a simple pre-programmed route so you can complete the thought naturally and quickly without even thinking about it.
Okay, I am ready for the map.
The moment you internalize this formula, that conversational flow just comes right back. This structure is your map. And it solves problem C by giving your sentence a natural place to land.
Okay, let's look at the architecture of this thing.
Okay, here is the core structure. It creates nuance, it creates flow, and it is so simple. It's I'm feeling plus an emotion plus a level word plus because.
That is deceptively simple. Let's really focus on the power of that level word and the reason, because those two parts seem to be what makes it sound so natural.
They're everything. So number one, the emotion. That's the core feeling from one of our 4 zones. That's the easy part.
Right.
Number 2, the level word. This is your social control. It sets the seriousness, the depth. The most essential, natural words here are a bit, kind of, really, a little. This one word tells your listener, this is the volume of my problem. If you say really, you're inviting them to ask more. If you say a bit, you're signaling it's minor, it's manageable.
And then the because.
Number 3, because. The reason. This is the part that stops you from freezing. And the most important thing to remember is one short reason is enough. You do not need to summarize the entire history of the project. You just need to give the immediate cause.
Okay, so if I say I'm feeling really stressed, that signals a pretty big problem. But if I say I'm feeling a little stressed because I need to make a phone call, that's just a tiny, manageable thing. The level word does all the heavy lifting.
Precisely. It lets you be honest without being demanding. And now let's look at how the full sentence actually helps the conversation.
Okay.
These models, they show how being concise and honest actually improves the social interaction. So for example, I'm feeling a bit tired because I didn't sleep well.
Okay, level is low, reason is simple.
Exactly. Or I'm feeling kind of stressed because I have many things to organize today.
Level, medium,
Right.
reason, workload.
Or on the positive side, I'm feeling really excited because I finally got the job offer.
High level, great news.
And maybe I'm feeling a little nervous because I have to present in a large meeting.
Low to medium level, anticipation. Yeah.
What's so great here is how the formula automatically tells the listener how to respond.
That's the key. When you give the reason, you give the other person the context they need to reply naturally. They aren't just guessing anymore.
Exactly. If you hear, I'm feeling kind of stressed because I have many things to organize, you know exactly how to reply.
Yeah, I'd say, oh no, I get that. Can I help with anything?
Perfect. Or if they say, I'm feeling really excited because I finally got the job offer, the reply is instantly warm. That's amazing. Tell me everything. The formula just keeps the conversation moving. It's like a social game of ping pong.
And the formula seems really flexible too. It's not rigid.
Not at all. It's completely flexible. You can swap out any part. You can keep the core structure and just change the reason. For example,
Go on.
let's start with, I'm feeling kind of worried because the flight is delayed. Now, if you want to change the level, you could say, I'm feeling really worried because the flight is delayed and I might miss my connection.
Ah, okay.
Or you could change the emotion entirely. I'm feeling kind of annoyed because the flight is delayed.
So the trick is just making sure those 3 parts are always there. Emotion, level, and reason. That's the roadmap.
Yeah.
Okay, now that we have the map, let's upgrade the ingredients, starting with zone 1, the positive words.
Let's do it.
We are officially moving beyond just happy. We need specificity. So we've picked 7 really natural and useful positive words. Content, relieved, proud, excited, grateful, confident, and calm.
And for each of these, the little mini stories will help lock in the meaning, but we should also talk about the subtle social job each word does.
Okay, let's start with content. Content means it's a state of peaceful satisfaction. It's a quiet, gentle, deep kind of happiness. It means you have everything you need in that moment and nothing is really bothering you.
It's not active joy, it's quiet happiness.
Exactly. So what's the social use for content? Well, it's perfect for those casual check-ins. If someone asks how you are at the end of a long Friday, saying I'm content signals a nice, stable feeling. It communicates, I'm good, but don't expect any drama or fireworks from me. Here's the mini story. It's Sunday afternoon, I have a cup of tea, the sun is shining through my window, and my phone is finally quiet. I'm content.
And in the formula.
I'm feeling content because the weather is beautiful and I have nowhere to rush.
Perfect. Okay, next up. Relieved. Relieved means that a specific worry or anxiety has completely disappeared. It's a feeling that comes after a problem is solved. The tension is gone.
I hear learners use happy here a lot, when what they really mean is relieved. Why is relieved the better word?
Because happy is just a general state. Relieved actually explains the source of the good feeling. It tells you a negative thing has been resolved. It tells a story instantly.
Right.
If you say, I'm happy, I might wonder why. If you say, I'm relieved, I immediately understand that something bad almost happened, but didn't.
Mini story for relieved.
I spent a week preparing for a very difficult exam. I got the results today and I passed easily. I'm so relieved.
And then the formula.
I'm feeling so relieved because that major problem we were worried about yesterday is finally solved.
Excellent. Okay, next. Proud. Proud is that feeling of deep satisfaction you get from something you've accomplished, or maybe something someone close to you has done.
And this word is so important for self-affirmation, especially when you're learning something new.
Oh, absolutely. If you've achieved something, even something small like speaking up in a difficult meeting or finally understanding a tough concept, you should claim that feeling. It validates all your hard work.
So, the mini story. I spoke English at the conference today, and I managed to communicate my complex idea perfectly. It wasn't easy, but I did it. I'm proud.
Love that. In the formula, I'm feeling really proud because my team finished the project ahead of schedule.
Great. Next, a simpler one. Excited. Excited means you have this high energy and anticipation for a specific, positive thing happening in the future.
This one seems straightforward, but it's important to remember it's active. It's about the future. If you're just happy in the present moment, use content. If you're happy about something happening tomorrow, use excited.
Good distinction. Mini story.
Next week, I'm flying home to see my family for the first time in a year. I'm incredibly excited. In the formula. I'm feeling really excited because I bought tickets for that concert I really wanted to see.
Perfect. Next up is grateful. Grateful means you feel thankful, but it's much deeper than just saying thanks. It recognizes that someone's kindness or help genuinely improved your situation.
It has a weight to it.
It does. It communicates a really deep respect for what someone else did for you. When you use grateful, you're signaling that their help was truly significant.
Okay, mini story for grateful. I was really struggling to meet a deadline, and my colleague stayed late to help me finish a critical part. I am so grateful for their time.
And the formula version.
I'm feeling grateful because my mentor gave me some advice that really helped me make a decision.
Excellent. Okay, number 6, confident. Confident means you have a strong belief in your own abilities or judgment. It implies you're prepared.
Why is this such a good word to use in a professional setting?
Because it connects your internal feeling directly to your expected performance. If you tell someone, I feel confident, you're essentially saying, I'm ready. I've done the work. It builds immediate trust.
Mini story.
I rehearsed this presentation so many times that I know it perfectly, even if I get a little nervous. I feel highly confident. And in the formula, I'm feeling more confident because I finished all the research and the data looks really strong.
Love it. Okay, last positive one. Calm. Calm is basically the opposite of nervous or stressed. It's an internal feeling of stability and peace. Your mind is quiet, your body is relaxed.
Being able to say you're calm is really important because in our hectic world, it's often the state we're all aiming for.
Yeah. When you use calm, you're signaling that you're present and in control of your surroundings, or at least your reaction to them.
Mini story for calm.
I decided to disconnect from my phone and email this morning, and the silence was just amazing. I feel calm. And the formula. I'm feeling wonderfully calm because I went for a long walk in the park this morning.
Fantastic. So we've upgraded our positive words. Now we have to tackle the negative side with that same level of precision to make sure we're controlling the intensity.
All right, let's get into the negative feelings, but without the drama.
Exactly. This section is all about avoiding that trap of using words that are too strong. We're going to use scales to make sure the word we choose perfectly matches how serious the situation actually is. Let's start with the scale for setbacks and irritations.
Okay.
It goes from soft to strong. Annoyed ear. Frustrated. Upset ear.
Angry.
Let's break those down. Annoyed.
Annoyed is a very low-level irritation. Small things are bothering you, usually something external like a noise or a minor interruption. It doesn't take much energy to get over it.
Like, I'm feeling annoyed because the person next to me on the bus keeps talking loudly on their phone.
Perfect example. Now, frustrated is a step up. It has more energy than annoyed. Frustration means you have a goal, you are actively trying to reach it, but something is blocking you, often again and again. It implies you're putting in effort, but not getting results.
Like, I'm feeling frustrated because I've tried 3 times to fix this bug in my code, and it's still not working.
Exactly. And socially, when you say, I'm frustrated, you're signaling that you're still trying, but you might need some help or just a break. Okay, next is upset.
Upset is your flexible, safe, all-purpose word here. It means you're feeling emotional distress, maybe sadness, maybe mild anger, but it doesn't specify which one. It's the perfect word to use when you just feel bad, but you don't want to get into the details of whether it's anger or sadness.
So I'm feeling kind of upset because I had a miscommunication with a colleague.
Perfect. And finally, angry. This is a strong word. You should reserve it for when something genuinely wrong or unfair has happened. It signals that you are significantly mad, and often that something needs to change or be confronted.
So I'm feeling angry because I found out a company policy was violated and it directly harmed my work.
Exactly. That distinction between annoyed and frustrated is so powerful. Annoyed is passive. You're just observing something irritating. Frustrated means you're actively trying to do something and failing.
Right. Most of daily life is just a lot of annoyance and frustration, not actual anger.
Precisely. Use the word that matches the reality. Now let's move to the scale of sadness, and this is one to use with caution. It goes down, sad, Heartbroken.
Down.
Down is the mildest feeling. Low energy, low mood, but you're still functioning. It's often used for a temporary state that doesn't have a huge, dramatic cause.
Like I'm feeling a bit down because it's gray and raining today and I missed the sun.
Yeah, exactly. Then you have sad. This is a clearer, stronger emotion. It's usually tied to a specific loss or event. It's a word that asks for genuine sympathy from the listener.
I'm feeling sad because my best friend is moving to another country.
Perfect. And finally, heartbroken. This is a 10 out of 10 word. You must reserve this for major, life-altering grief or pain, the loss of a loved one, a serious breakup, a truly catastrophic event.
Let me just jump in with a quick personal mistake here. I once said I was heartbroken when my favorite coffee shop closed down.
Oh, no.
And the reaction from my colleague was so extreme, they immediately thought a family member had passed away. The alarm I caused was incredible. I learned right then the social cost of using a word that's too strong for the situation.
That is the perfect cautionary tale. The listener's natural reaction is to match the intensity of the word you choose. So by controlling your word, you control the entire interaction.
Absolutely. Okay, let's differentiate those pressure words. Worried, anxious, and stressed. People mix these up all the time.
All the time. But they describe three very different things. So number one, worried. This is the mental part. It's anticipating a negative future event. It's the energy you spend on the what-if questions. It's a cognitive process.
Like, I'm feeling worried because I haven't heard back about my job application yet.
Exactly. Number two, anxious. This is worry that you feel in your body. It's stronger and it's physical. A fast heart rate, a tight feeling in your chest, you can't sit still. Anxiety is a physical state.
So I'm feeling anxious because I have to give a speech and I always get nervous in front of big crowds.
Perfect. And number three, stressed. This is pressure from an external workload. It's quantifiable. Too many tasks, not enough time, too many deadlines. It's about your capacity versus the external demands.
So I'm feeling stressed because my boss just assigned 3 new projects this week and I still have to finish the old ones.
That is a perfect summary. If you're nervous before a presentation, you're anxious. If you're thinking about the results of the presentation afterwards, you're worried. And if that presentation is just one of 10 giant tasks on your to-do list, you're stressed.
That specificity makes your communication so much clearer, and you can plug them all into the formula. I'm feeling a bit anxious because I drank way too much coffee today.
I'm feeling frustrated because the Wi-Fi keeps cutting out.
Yeah.
See? The structure always works.
Okay, now for our final vocabulary deep dive. Zone 3, energy and what we're calling modern strain.
This is that functioning but not great state.
Yes. The vocabulary is so important for work, where you need to manage people's expectations about what you can do without just complaining about your feelings. We've got 7 words here. Overwhelmed, drained, exhausted, burnt out, restless, tense, and on edge.
And for these, we should also think about the social context. Some are fine for the office, others you should probably save for close friends.
Good point. Let's start with the big one again, overwhelmed. We've defined it as mental gridlock from too much input.
Right. And professionally, saying, I am overwhelmed is often much better than saying, I am busy. Busy is just a neutral state. Overwhelmed explains why you might need a boundary or a slight delay on something. It's a professional way of saying, my capacity is totally full and I need help or a plan to prioritize things.
Okay, so the scenario would be, I have emails coming in constantly, 3 project deadlines this week, and I'm training a new colleague. I feel completely overwhelmed.
And in the formula, I'm feeling overwhelmed because I can't seem to prioritize these tasks effectively. Okay, next, drained.
Drain feels like empty, like your energy battery is at 0.
Exactly. It's beyond just normal tiredness. It suggests you're exhausted because of mental or emotional effort.
It's a great word for introverts after a long day of meetings and talking to people.
Totally. So, the scenario. I had a full day of back-to-back negotiation meetings. I feel mentally drained. And the formula. I'm feeling totally drained because I had intense conversations all morning.
Okay. Exhausted. This one feels more physical.
It is. It just means very, very tired. This word is easily understood, and it's perfectly fine to use in any context. It's the most direct way to say you have maximum physical fatigue.
The scenario. I pulled an all-nighter studying and then had a full workday. I am exhausted.
And the formula. I'm feeling exhausted because I woke up at 3 a.m. and couldn't get back to sleep.
The worst. Okay, next. Burnt out. This one feels serious.
It's a high-intensity word. Burnout is a long-term chronic state. It's the result of prolonged excessive stress without any recovery time. It implies your physical and emotional reserves have been empty for weeks or months.
So why do you need to be careful using burnt out?
Because it signals a significant long-term health issue, not just a bad Tuesday. You should generally save burnt out for close friends, family, or maybe a serious conversation with your manager about taking time off. Using it casually will trigger a much stronger response than just saying you're tired.
Okay, the scenario. I've been working overtime constantly for 3 months, sacrificing sleep and exercise. I feel completely burnt out. And the formula, I'm feeling burnt out because I haven't taken a proper holiday in over a year.
Exactly. Next, restless. Restless is when you can't relax or feel peaceful. Your body or your mind feels busy even when you're trying to be still. It's a nervous energy.
It's that feeling when you've finished work, but your brain is still running through tomorrow's to-do list and you can't just sit and read a book.
Exactly. So the formula would be, I'm feeling restless because I have an early flight tomorrow and I can't stop thinking about packing.
Okay, tense. This one feels physical too.
It's a physical description of stored stress. It shows up in your body-tight shoulders, a clenched jaw, a stiff neck.
It gives the other person a really clear physical image of how you're feeling.
It does. The scenario. I'm waiting for a difficult phone call. My shoulders are tight and I keep rubbing my temples. I feel tense. And in the formula, I'm feeling a bit tense because I haven't taken a break from my computer all day.
I feel that. Okay, last one. On edge. This is a great phrase.
It's fantastic. It's natural and so useful. It means you're nervous, irritable, and easily annoyed by small things. It implies a kind of instability.
It's the perfect phrase for when you're low on sleep and you feel like you have a very short temper. It's a polite warning to others.
Handle with care.
Yeah.
Exactly. The scenario. I slept terribly last night, and the smallest mistake my coworker is making is driving me crazy. I feel on edge.
And the formula?
I'm feeling kind of on edge because I'm anticipating a major announcement at work today.
Okay, that wraps up the vocabulary upgrade. We now have the words, we have the structure, we have the zones. It's time to put it all together in some real conversations.
Yes. This is the part that turns passive knowledge into an active skill. We need to really internalize how this all flows. When you use the formula correctly, the other person knows how to respond, and the conversation just keeps going smoothly.
So we've built 3 scenarios. As you're listening, try to repeat the lines and really focus on how the formula makes the next line of dialogue possible.
Okay, scenario A. This is a simple friend check-in.
Your friend says, "Hey, how are things with you?" And inside, you're tired, but you're basically okay. So you say, "I'm feeling a bit tired because I didn't sleep well."
And your friend's natural reply would be, "Oh no, that's rough. Are you going to be all right today?"
And you can say, "I'm okay, just low on energy. How about you? What are you up to?"
See? Use the level word a bit to signal it's just a minor issue, and then you immediately turn the focus back to them. You are honest without oversharing.
Perfect. Okay, scenario B. This is a work or school message. You're managing expectations politely.
Your manager emails you about a new task. Can you get started on Project X immediately? But inside, you're completely overloaded.
So you reply, "Hi, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed today because I have many tasks that require immediate attention."
And now your manager, who has that important context, can reply, "Understood. When would be the soonest you can dedicate a few hours to it?"
And you can offer a solution. "I can prioritize it after 3 p.m. Can we talk about it later this afternoon?"
That is just professional mastery. You didn't say no, you didn't complain, you just gave them the honest context and proposed a solution, all because you used the word overwhelmed.
So good. Okay, scenario C. This is when someone asks, "What's wrong?" And you need a respectful way to ask for a bit of space.
A concerned coworker sees you and says, "You look kind of tense, what's wrong?" And inside, you're upset about something, but it's private.
So you say, "I'm feeling upset because something didn't go as planned earlier."
And their natural response is, "I'm sorry to hear that. Do you want to talk about it?"
And here's where you set the boundary. "I don't want to talk a lot right now, but thank you so much for asking."
You can also add, optionally, "Maybe I'll feel better later." This is perfect, respectful boundary setting. You acknowledge their concern with the formula, but you made it clear that the reason is private for now.
Okay, before we wrap up, we have to correct 3 really common mistakes that just sound unnatural. Fixing these can change your fluency instantly.
Let's do a rapid-fire round. Mistake number 1, I'm boring versus I'm bored.
Oh, this is a big one.
It's one of the biggest grammatical errors. The rule is simple. Adjectives ending in -ing describe the cause of the feeling. The movie is boring. Adjectives ending in -ed describe the feeling you have. I am bored.
So if you say, I'm boring, you are telling people that you are a dull person who makes other people fall asleep.
Right.
If you say, I'm bored, you're just describing your own lack of stimulation at that moment. The class is confusing, so I'm confused.
Exactly. Okay, mistake number 2. The vague, I feel bad.
This phrase is a crutch, but it doesn't really mean anything. Bad is just too generic.
We need to push for more clarity. When you say, I feel bad, the listener has no idea if you're physically sick or if you feel guilty about something.
So if you're not feeling well, say, I feel sick or I feel unwell.
And if you did something you regret, say, I feel guilty.
A clear example. I feel guilty because I forgot to reply to my boss's email before the deadline. That is clear, concise communication.
Perfect. And mistake number 3, we have to say it one more time, overusing the word depressed.
Yes. The consequence is just too high.
Depressed is a word with severe, often clinical meaning, using it for a temporary bad mood jest. It minimizes its real meaning, and it causes major social misunderstandings.
We want to use words that accurately reflect the level of what we're feeling. For a fleeting negative mood, always go for the softer words from zone 2. Down, sad, upset, or stressed. Control the volume, control the conversation.
So we have covered a lot of ground today. The big takeaway here is that fluent communication is really about structure, not just about having random words. The mission was to get you beyond, I'm fine, and we've given you the tools to do that with real confidence.
You now have the 4 zones for quick memory access, and you have the most important tool of all, the core formula. Emotion plus level word plus reason. This simple structure makes sure you don't freeze up, and it helps you always maintain a natural conversational flow.
And if you focus on practicing that structure, especially those 3 mini dialogues we went through, and you start using the vocabulary we discussed, you will find your communication feels more honest and nuanced almost immediately. And that leads directly to more confidence.
Now let's leave you with that final provocative thought, the real secret weapon we mentioned earlier. Knowledge is only valuable when you use it, and the true fluency trick here isn't the feeling word itself, but the level word a bit, really, kind of.
If you can master the level word, you master the social power of the entire interaction. You instantly tell your listener how deeply you're willing to talk about the topic. Saying, I'm a bit frustrated, is a subtle signal that says, I just need 5 minutes to cool down.
But saying, I'm really frustrated, that's a signal that you need help, and you're probably open to a longer conversation about it.
By controlling that one little word, you control the depth and intensity of the conversation instantly. And that is the very definition of social intelligence.
So your actionable challenge, right now. Write down or just say out loud 1 sentence using the formula. Do it immediately.
Today I'm feeling a bit kind of really, because I keep it short, make it real.
Keep practicing these simple, real-life words to accurately show your nuanced reality. We hope this deep dive helps you communicate with more confidence and more clarity.
Until next time.